Can you hear me? All right. Hey, everybody. Stephen Bastian from the Relationship Life. We are doing Coffee Talk. This is the first show. It's April 2nd. And I'm going to be joined shortly by Anthony Johnson, who is a gamer. And he's our editor on our film Star Wars Mara. It's a fan film. For those of you who don't know, we're doing a fan film. He also is going to be editing Deep End of the Pool and a few of our other films. He's a fantastic editor, and I'll be bringing him in shortly. So how's everybody doing? How you guys coping with the coronavirus? There should be a chat where you'll be able to chat with me and Anthony and tell us what you want to talk about. This is Coffee Talk, so we're going to treat it like we're sitting at a coffee shop and just, you know, chewing the fat, talking about whatever we talk about. That's what we're going to do. And we can talk about anything you want. Really doesn't matter. AJ is still pretty bright on his camera. I don't know if he can hear me or not, but he's really bright. But he's a bright guy anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to bring him in. And we're going to say hi to Anthony. Hey, Anthony. Oh, you're not as bright on there.
Hey, how you doing? Well, that's good, I guess.
I cannot hear you. So I'm sure they can. The problem is I'm not wearing headphones. So I want to get feedback. Let me see if that will work. Let me adjust my settings real quick. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. And then I should be able to hear you.
Maybe.
Now try saying something.
Something.
There you go. Now I hear you. Next time I'm going to have to do this with headphones so that I can hear you a little better, but I can hear you good enough.
Okay.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Anthony Johnson. He is, as I said, an extraordinary editor, a gamer. You and I go back, what, about 12 years?
Probably pretty close, yeah.
And he's out of San Antonio, Texas, way down south, where the men are men and sheep are scared to death.
This is a true statement, yes.
So how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I see you've got your coffee. Cheers. Here's looking at you. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What are you into? What do you do for a living? You know, what's you're married. I know your wife. Your wife is awesome. I love Crystal to death. She's amazing.
Don't give her a big ego.
She deserves a big ego. She makes an amazing sandwich from what I understand.
Yeah. Mainly I'm just a kind of the run-of-the-mill type of person, you know. Currently working for a school district. Unfortunately, with the whole coronavirus and everything, it's kind of putting everything on hold.
Oh yeah, it's put everybody on hold. It's been crazy. Mm-hmm. I had talked about on my Facebook live video the other day about how this coronavirus thing can be a relationship killer. It's, you know, you're stuck in the same house with somebody and you're having to stare at them 24/7. You can get on your nerves rather quickly. How are you guys holding up?
We're doing all right. The benefit, I guess, is that Crystal does work from home. So during the week, she's kind of isolated off to herself, and I get a break. And
yeah, anything you could do to stay busy, that would really help anybody's situation. And that's what I was saying in my Facebook video, that, you know, you almost have to treat this like you're snowed in, and you've got to just find something to do. Like I said in the Facebook video, a month ago, where she would be complaining, you're always playing video games. You never pay attention to me. Now you need to play video games. Like now you need to stay busy and stay out of each other's faces because every little thing is going to piss you off. It's going to piss her off. I mean, oh my God, he's breathing. Why is he always breathing?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of his breathing.
That is very true. Yes.
I hate the way he chews on potato chips.
Yeah.
But actually, the people that are single, or not single, but the people that are in relationships where they don't live together have a distinct advantage over the people that live together because they get to miss each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can imagine it's like when you run, you know, when you're in a long distance relationship, say you live several hundred miles away from each other and you get to see each other. So maybe, you know, you're the guy, you fly her out and she gets to the airport and the next thing you know, she's getting off the plane. She sees you, drops her bags, runs, wraps her arms and legs around you. You're spinning around. Oh my God, you know, because you miss each other so much. And
Right.
in this situation, even if you're living together, you're going to have to find a way to miss each other because
Right.
otherwise it could be disastrous on a lot of levels. So are you staying healthy? You staying safe? Wearing gloves?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you got to do it. This thing is nasty. There's people that believe that it's I can't believe that there are still people that believe that this is not real. You know, because nothing like this has ever happened before.
Right. And honestly, I don't know how people could believe that it's not real. I mean, I have my thoughts on things, but it's definitely real and it's definitely causing a lot of issues at the moment.
Oh yeah. I mean, thank God for our truck drivers because if they ever get sick and if this wipes out our truck drivers, we're gonna starve.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard people talk about like, you know, I've seen shows on like Discovery Channel and stuff about how, you know, one day the Yosemite caldera could explode, you know, and blanket the entire United States with ash and cause an ash cloud, or we could have an asteroid that could hit the planet, a solar flare that could knock out all our power across the United States. I mean, this is just a virus. Could you imagine if something catastrophic on that level were to happen?
No, I have. It would be.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost like a trial run of a natural disaster that could literally stop everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I'm used to dealing, and I'm sure you're San Antonio, you're a little farther inland, but how did you fare in that last hurricane that you had down there where it flooded Houston?
That one I actually was working with in the cable industry, so I ended up going down and helping out rebuild like all of the Corpus Christi area and all of that. But for what we got up here, we got a little bit of rain, and that was
so you didn't get a lot in San Antonio. Yeah, but Houston got wiped out. I mean, it was under feet of water.
Yeah.
And that was very localized, you know, and I can only imagine something on a national or even global level, you know, like this pandemic is a prime example. This is just a pandemic. If we had something that absolutely disrupted our infrastructure to the point where we couldn't even function, you know, they're talking about if we got a solar flare, that it could wipe out the power grid for years.
Yeah.
Literally years. And this is like a wake-up call. This is absolutely terrifying now that, you know, I'm seriously thinking about when all of this is over, going to Amazon and buying those rations that they have, the meals in a bag for military, the MREs. Mm-hmm. Just to stock them up, you know, in my basement and storeroom, so I'd have 6 months of food because this is really. I mean, you saw what happened with the toilet paper.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, if we had a disaster of that kind of level, where infrastructure is damaged and truck drivers can't deliver food, they can't deliver supplies, and everything's crippled and cars won't run. And, like if Yosemite went off, for example, there would be an ash cloud that they say will cover the entire United States. It'll choke car intakes. I mean, you can't run your car.
Right.
Trucks won't run. Planes won't fly. And it's going to be Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I mean, that's apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, you saw what happened with the toilet paper. Could you imagine if all of a sudden there was an emergency broadcast that you're not going to get anything? The store shelves would be wiped out within an hour and would not be restocked. So it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. This is a definite wake-up call, and I hope we never see that. I really hope we never see that. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I think preparedness needs to be taken seriously, and next time we may not be so lucky. Yeah. So we need to start preparing. I'm not saying arm yourselves, but if something like that were to happen, there's going to be raiding parties. I mean, it's going to be like your house becomes your fortress and you need to lock it in.
Yeah, that is, I agree with you. I mean, like you said, that this is just a pandemic, and by no means is it a small thing. I mean, obviously people are
not at
dying,
all.
people are sick, but I agree. This is everybody stay home, and it's not a major. And see, I don't want to say that it's not a major, because it is a major thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a instant life-changing on a global scale life-changing thing. It is. How do you even word that? I'm not downplaying it, but like you said,
right. I know what you're saying. It's not a disaster in the sense that our infrastructure is wiped out.
Right.
Our power is still on. Our water's still running.
Right.
Trucks are still delivering goods. We can still go to the store. We can still go outside the house. If we had something like a nuclear war or an asteroid impact or something like that, it's absolutely sobering. It's terrifying.
Right.
Because
like you said, you couldn't go to the store. You couldn't, because you could go to the store, but there'd be nothing there, because like you said, everything would be
there'd be nothing. Exactly. There'd be nothing there.
Right.
It's almost where you'd have to grow your own food, and we're back in the Stone Age. We're there's no electricity, there's no running water. I mean, I don't know how to dig a well.
You'd be digging quite a bit, at least around here. As I've heard, everything from 300 to 700 feet down before you get into like the aquifers and things like that. That's a long way to dig.
I mean, I'm on city water where I live, and I'm seriously thinking about, at some point when this is over, having a well company come out and dig a well so that I have the hand pump, because there won't be any power. You can't run an electric well, but just to have that old fashioned hand pump that they used to have in the old days. I'm doing this, not this. And do the old fashioned hand pump, where you can at least have water.
Right.
It's and then have a garden and dig a garden. What do you think? Above ground, raised garden, or dig into the ground? I mean, how do you do? You don't want to tear up your lawn too much.
Well, I mean, if the lawn is what you're worried about, I don't know you're gonna survive too long.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thinking about going out and buying a cow.
Yeah.
I've got 2 chickens, and they give me eggs every morning. I go out and feed the girls and see the girls and feed them, and they give me eggs. But I was commenting to a friend of mine that if worse came to worse, those chickens are going to be lunch.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that survival instinct where that's a lot of people say the animals that you have, and I'm not saying that you would, but like dogs, cats, things like that, yes, they're members of the family, but
If you got hungry enough,
exactly.
you got to do what you got to do. I wouldn't
Mhm.
want to think about that, but yeah, that's
No.
true. Like I said, the MREs would go a long way. Canned
Oh, yeah.
goods, people, things that you don't require power for.
Mhm.
You know, but even that's going to run out eventually. And if we went through anything that lasted more than, God, I mean, a few months. I mean, you know, this is bad, but we need to count our blessings and kind of look at this as, like I said, a wake up call that we need to start thinking along the lines of what could happen. You know, if the worst case scenario were to ever happen, you got to be ready for that. I mean, you live in Texas, so you know everybody and their pets have guns. I'm sure you're armed.
I cannot confirm nor deny that statement.
Nah, there you go. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But you know, there's a. I've never been, you know, one of those people that stockpile weaponry. But you know, if I had to turn my house into a fortress, I want to be able to defend myself.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's and then that's going to run out. I mean, ammo can only unless you stockpile boxes of ammo, you're
Yeah,
eventually going to run out of that.
right. And even then, I mean, you can only have so much.
Exactly. Then we go really old school. We go to swords. I've got a
There
nice
you
sword
go.
collection.
I have a few myself.
Yeah, I've got a nice sword collection. I've got my lightsabers, but they won't do any good. I'm talking about a real sword.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if lightsabers were real? Oh, I wish somebody would learn how to invent those because that is, we just, you know, we work on that Star Wars film together and you do all the rotoscoping and all the special effects for my lightsaber effects, which
Mhm.
are amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen my trailer, um, I'll try to post a link in this later on. He does an amazing job. And sometimes I think to myself when I'm, you know, playing with my toy, you know, it is a toy. I mean, it's an FX lightsaber, it's a stunt saber. But sometimes I think to myself, my God, I wish this were real.
That's it's not quite the same, but I've seen a YouTube video and I cannot remember who it was that did it, but they have attempted to make a actual lightsaber,
Oh, wow.
but it's not the same way that it would be in Star Wars. I mean, it doesn't instantly cut through everything, and you know all of that kind of deal. But and the battery pack is huge, but they do have something that heats up. They can at least scar cardboard and things like that. So I mean, there are people that are attempting to make things, but at the moment, it's nowhere near.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you think about the physics behind an actual real lightsaber. If it were to exist in reality, you wouldn't be able to hold it. I mean, that plasma beam would be 12,000 degrees for it to cut through metal in one swipe. I mean,
Right.
you're talking about melting metal, even if it's aluminum. Aluminum melts at what, 1,000 degrees or something like that? It's a ridiculously high temperature. And for a lightsaber to be able to cut through, I mean, that scene in episode one, we've probably all seen episode one, where Qui-Gon Jinn thrusts his lightsaber through the blast doors
Right.
and he's turning it and he's holding it and it's right that would burn his face off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way he would be able to stand that close to basically a blast furnace.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's even with the that
I
one that
guarantee you
those.
that beard he had would not have survived.
Oh no. Well, and that's the one that those guys were making. They said that it's ungodly hot,
Yeah,
and just being near it, and that's not even to the point where, like I said, it can cut through anything easily.
it just wouldn't happen. I mean, you would, like I said, you wouldn't be able to hold it.
Mm-mm.
Um, so there are some things in life that are fantasy, unfortunately, that we'll never have. You know, I've been a Star Trek fan my whole life, and Yeah, warp drive would be nice, but wouldn't it be nice to have a transporter?
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice for me to step into a thing and beam over to your house and we do this show sitting side by side at a table?
Yeah.
You're never going to see that because even that technology, I mean, you think about it, what does a transporter do? It breaks you down to the atomic level and beams the information to another location and then reassembles it. Well, you wouldn't be able to transmit actual physical matter.
Right.
So basically, what it does is it kills you
And then
and then
revives.
creates a new you.
Right. Now, talking about that type of deal, because obviously I've got a lot of time on my hands.
Well, we all do.
Yeah, that's. I've been watching a show, Altered Carbon. If
Uh-huh.
you've never seen that, that's actually a good series, but it kind of takes that same kind of idea as the uh, of the transportation, but they call it DHF or the oh, I forget what it actually stands for, but it's basically like your soul, your memory, your thoughts, all of that is in a what they call a stack, and they call it resleeving. So they send your information like your soul and memories, your
Right.
thoughts, all of that. They send it to a new body that they install this stack into the back of, or in the back of your neck, and then it just downloads your thoughts, your memories. So you could be you 1 minute, and then when you re-sleeve or cast to the next body, wherever it might be, you could be a female, you could be you won't be you, you'll be in a
For
different
you.
body, but you're still you as far as your thoughts, your memories,
Mhm.
everything that makes you you. So that I thought was kind of an interesting idea on the whole transporter idea.
Well, you and I met playing a game called Eve Online,
Hmm.
and we were in the same corporation together, and that was a lot of fun back in the day. We've been playing for quite a while. We don't play anymore, unfortunately. It's CCP. What have you done to our game?
It stagnated, honestly.
It has. But it's interesting because it's along the same lines of the clones. Because we, in the game, for those of you that don't know, in EVE Online, you are a clone. And when you die in the game, you are downloaded to a new body, a new clone, and you start your life over again. The advantage to that, though, would be the cool thing about it, like even with the transporter that I was saying, how it literally kills you
Hmm.
and then reassembles a new body and it's you. In theory, it could correct everything. You would never age. Like it could reset you back to 25 years old again. And if you had a broken leg or you had arthritis or you had COVID virus, whatever, or cancer, the new body wouldn't have that.
Right.
Kind of like the clones in Eve. No matter what happens, no matter you could get messed up where your arms and legs are chopped off. If they did that in the game, they don't. But if they did, the new body wouldn't have that problem.
Right.
So that's very interesting in and of itself. But then you get into the whole philosophy of the soul. If you beamed into a new body, would it be you?
And see, I think that's where that show Altered Carbon it plays into that. Like you technically have eternal life because
Right.
your body dies, but your mind and your soul and everything else doesn't. So as long as you keep getting a new clone or a new, they call them sleeves, as long as you keep getting a new one, you technically would never die. And they
Right.
actually call the oldest people there, they call them meths, which kind of has a negative deal, but they're referring to Methuselah, the oldest known, or at least in as far as the Bible goes, the
Right.
oldest living person, and that's they call them meths. So it kind of plays into that moral. There's a lot of morals that are played on in there,
Mm-hmm.
like the whole uh, because it no matter what you believe, we're created we live, and then we die. But in that sense, you eliminate that last step, and you're created. You live, and then you live, and you live, and you know, is it right? And like you said, you know, the whole soul and all of that. How would it, every time you re-sleeve, you know, do you lose a bit of your soul? Will you eventually die, or you know, is the soul eternal and it never dies? And so it's a good show if you haven't seen it. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Well, it begs the question that, like, back to the transporter. If you were to transport from, say, where I am in North Carolina to San Antonio, Texas,
Mhm.
like I said, it instantly kills you. It breaks you down atomic, to the atomic level. Your body's dead. You're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophically speaking, if there is a soul, if we, let's take it as read that we all have a soul.
Right.
Would that soul know where to go, or would it say, okay, my body's dead, I'm going to heaven, or I'm going to the next life, the afterlife?
Mm-hmm.
You may not end up, there'll be a new body, but it won't be you. It'll just be a blank.
Right. Which that would almost be comical, really, when you think about it. You
It
know,
would
you
suck.
transport. It would, but it'd be comical on the other end for whoever is receiving the like, if you were to come to visit me and then all of a sudden you're just a blank, you know, lifeless clone. I go, well, guess he missed. You know, it's almost that comical. I mean,
Well, if you really want to get comical, I mean, I do a show, as you know, called The Relationship Life,
mm-hmm.
and it's on this channel. It's kind of really interesting when you think about it, that you get in a massive, massive fight with your girlfriend or let's say your wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, you know what? I'm done. I want a divorce. Okay, honey, wait, before you do that, step into the transporter, and then she leaves in and she's gone. So you got a new version of her, and it's like, okay, what were you saying? I don't know. What was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, exactly.
No,
Fight's over.
I need to write this down so I can figure out how to make this transporter idea.
That's a great way to end a fight,
Yeah. Yeah. So the one time that you're asleep or whatever, and she decides to send you because she's mad at you, and you know she asks for a new car or whatever, and you're like, no, 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 and then she transports you. Oh, you remember when you said you were going to give me a new car? Yeah, maybe.
But even not even going that far. I mean, let's look at other ideas for fixing a relationship using science fiction. um, could you imagine, what would you give to have that little flashy thing that they had on Men in Black?
Oh, the
Where
memory
you could
eraser.
just, your girlfriend comes up and goes, I can't believe you did that. You're such a blah blah blah. And you're just like, hang on, look right here.
Yep. That would be
Oh,
great.
that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Every fight would end like that.
Yep.
But that could be used for severe evil too. Whoa.
And that's the unfortunate side, is no matter what good you can use things, and yes, I mean, we're making comedy out of it, but anything that could, because it could be used for good as well. I mean, you know, you get into a horrific accident or something during the recovery phase, you know, they could wipe that memory so you don't remember, you know, the accident,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. So it could be good, used for good,
Could be used.
but like you said, it will always be used for bad or evil. And
Pretty much anything could, but yeah, I mean, there's so many. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that could be, you meet a girl at a bar, and I don't even need to continue that sentence. That could go horrible. Like, yeah. So maybe that wouldn't be a good idea to invent that. Let's not invent that.
but I'm still debating on the transporter thing. I'm going to figure out the physics behind that.
Yeah, right. So what else? What else we got going on? Let's we're doing Star Wars Mara.
Mhm.
Filming, of course, has stopped. I mean, everything stopped. I'm hoping we can resume that. I was actually thinking about shooting a couple of scenes because my daughter's in deep into the pool. And I was thinking about just going ahead and setting up the camera and shooting some of the scenes we have at the house because we're stuck in the house together. But without a camera crew and without a lighting crew, and I don't want to sacrifice quality. I don't want to make it look bad. I'd rather have a full crew. But I don't know. I'm kind of itching to get in front of that camera again. It's that bug.
Yeah, well, and I'm not even gonna lie. I've been itching. Like I said, I've got a lot of downtime right now. So editing, adding special effects, this would be a perfect time to be doing it. And I have nothing to work with at the moment. Like you said, everything is shut down. So
this would be a great time to film in general. We've got that bar scene in Star Wars, and we've always said what sucks is finding a bar that's closed and would be willing to open up for us when they're closed so that we could shoot this cantina scene. Every bar is closed right now. I mean, it's like they've got nothing to do, but I can't get 10 people in the same room together. It sucks. I mean, I've got a restaurant scene in deep end of the pool, a cafe scene in deep end of the pool that I would love to shoot right now because there would be no traffic. There would be no people out and about. It would just be so easy to get these scenes shot. I actually put you're on our Discord. We have a Discord channel for the movies. And I put it out there. I said, hey, guys, not for nothing, but if we're safe and we keep 6 feet apart, you guys want to film? And everybody was like, hell no. Not going to happen.
Well, I mean, honestly, if this would be a good time for like any drone shots that you may be looking for, or any, shots of anything. I mean, empty streets or downtown shots. I mean, this would be the perfect time, and you can stay, to keep the social distancing and all of that, and you could shoot it yourself. So at this point, that's what I would be looking at. Anything.
I've thought about that. Are you under a state lockdown order?
No.
See, we are. North Carolina has locked down. They have a stay-at-home order. So I don't even know. I mean, yeah, I could go downtown and I'd have empty streets and empty roads to shoot, which would be great. I wouldn't have cars in the background and everything like that. But, I don't know if I'd be risking jail. I mean, they're talking about, like here, if you're caught out doing something you're not supposed to be doing, I think it's a class 2 misdemeanor.
Yeah, we are currently under the, I don't want to say recommendation, but that's essentially what it is the, stay home unless you have a good reason to be out. We're not full quarantine here, at least to my knowledge, unless that has changed as of last night. I should probably check that out. But, we're, stay home, don't go out. If you do go out, because like I said, we are able to at the moment. So, I mean, those shots would be perfect to do right now.
And absolutely. We don't have any viewers. I mean, I think we've got one, and that may be just you. I was hoping to get viewers and have people comment and ask questions, and we can have a back and forth with the audience as well, and kind of include them in this. They'll probably watch it and rerun and go, "Ooh, next time I want to be a part of that." So I'll probably have you on again, brother. We'll probably do this again. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I've got another girl, Joanna. If you're watching this, Joanna Winkle, I've got to get her on because she's an amazing musician. I think she's topped the top 10 UK charts for country singers. She's going to be famous, and she's getting there very, very quickly. And she's an amazing artist. And I want to get her on in the future and have her play her guitar and sing and do some songs. And we'll talk about music. She's an actress. She's in Deep End of the Pool. She plays Kamala, and try to get her in Star Wars as well. I want to interview other actors. LaRon Rose, I want to get him in here. Jessica Lamb. If I get Jessica to come on, man, we're going to do Carpe Nerdium like never been done before, as Trump would say, like it's never been done before. I saw something he said the other day. I mean, it's like I want to love the guy because, like, you know, love him or hate him, and this is probably I'm gonna get flamed for this. I know I am on both sides, but love him or hate him, he's looking very presidential right now. He's really stepped it up, and I'm actually like, you know, wow, you know, he's coming out every day, and he's taking questions, and he's taking the brunt of it. You know, it all falls on him, and they're blaming him for everything. You know, of course, that's always the way it goes. But he's looking so presidential, and I love how he reads his script. He's got a script in front of him.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and you could tell he's reading it. He's like, and today the COVID virus is doing this and that, and then he'll comment on what he just read. Yeah, like never before. Like it's been great, and it's the greatest thing. He said something yesterday that I actually laughed. I actually spit my iced tea out because he's like, we're building a wall, you know, we're closing our borders. And he was talking about the drug cartels. We're trying to keep the drug cartels out, and we're going to put our military on this, and we're going to make sure the drugs don't get into the United States and these drug cartels don't take advantage, you know. And he's reading this off the script, and he says, and, you know, we've got our southern border. We built 150 miles worth of wall. But man, and then he goes, when that wall's done, it's going to be the greatest wall ever, like the greatest wall anybody's ever seen. And I'm like, hello, what about the Great Wall of China?
Yeah, right.
Like, I think you're exaggerating that just a little bit.
Yeah.
He takes it over the top. You know, I didn't hear him say it, but I saw this thing. And if it's true, he said, I think what he meant to say is people are dying like they have never died before. But I think what he said is people are dying that have never died before. And I'm like, oh, great. I'd hate to see someone who's died before. I think we call them zombies.
Well, yeah, and that adds to a whole nother realm of minus that we've got. You know, the COVID-19 is nothing if zombies start walking again.
Well, you got to understand, like I said, love him or hate him, people are critical. I watch these live newscasts on my Facebook page. It'll pop up and it'll say, you know, President Trump and his coronavirus team are live. And I'll see the comments that people are making.
Mm-hmm.
And all I keep thinking to myself is, you think you could do any better? I mean,
right.
You know, shut up. Because
people don't understand.
For one thing, the guy probably hasn't slept in 2 weeks.
Oh, I would imagine.
You know, I couldn't do it. The fact that he's even able to put it, and I poke fun. I'm making fun of the fact that he said it's going to be the greatest wall ever that man has ever seen. You know, you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt because I mean the guy is running on no sleep. The stress levels he has to be under are mind-numbing. I can't even wrap my head around the amount of stress that the president has to be under right now. So, you know, good job, dude, because like I said, I honestly, I wasn't a big fan when he first got elected. I'm not going to lie. I thought, you know, he was on The Apprentice. I mean, he was an actor. I'm not saying actors are bad people. I'm an actor. But could I be president? Oh, hell no.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. And like you said, you know, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is the amount of stress, the amount of pressure that he's under. It's unlike any job you've ever had. I mean, short of maybe like an air traffic controller, maybe, but yeah, it would take that and then multiply it, and then that's where you would be as the president.
I've done weddings in the past, and then, you know, I mean, I've been doing weddings for years, and that's how I got into filmmaking. Is I used to do wedding videos really heavy, and a lot of people saw my wedding videos and were like, "Man, you know, you should make movies." And a colleague of mine said that you should make movies. You should make movies, and I was like, "Okay." So I wrote a script, and I started getting into filmmaking. The great thing about filmmaking is making movies is you have a script, you can say cut, you know, you don't have to get it in one take.
Right.
The wedding, you can't, if you're shooting a wedding and something goes wrong or the mic cuts out or if something gets messed, you can't look at the bride and go, hey guys, wait a minute, can you back up down the aisle? Let's do that again. It's not, you can't reset to one during a wedding. You've got to get it, and you've got to get it the first time. And I remember, God, the stress I used to be under because it was all on you. I mean, if you didn't get the shot, with photography, same thing. If you didn't get the shot, you're screwed. Like photography, the hardest part about photography for weddings is that kiss. When he says you may now kiss the bride, what I would do is just hold the button down. Because I needed to make sure I got it. Because if you miss that kiss, yeah, you technically could put them back up on the altar after the wedding and reenact it. You can do that with photography. You can't do that with video.
No.
Because you have the people in the background and the audience and the minister and, you can't do a retake on that. So it all falls down on you. I remember when I was DJing a wedding one time, we had a wedding coordinator. They'd hired a friend of the family. If you're getting married, by the way, people, listen to this. This is very important. If you're getting married, do not hire friends and family. I know it sounds like a great idea. My cousin, he's a photographer. He could shoot my wedding. My uncle could shoot my wedding. Let me tell you something. You're going to have one of two problems. Either your uncle is going to be partying with the rest of the family because he is part of the family, and now you're making him work at your wedding, and he's going to be pissed off about that and not having a good time because he wants to get drunk and have fun with everybody else and dance. Or he's going to be getting drunk and dancing and having a good time and not getting the shots. It's either going to go one or two ways. So hiring friends and family, you think it's a great idea. You think, I could save a buttload of money by hiring a friend or hiring a family member. It's not good. It's not going to work out the way you think it is. And they had hired, they brought in a coordinator. It was one of her friends to coordinate her wedding. And her last name was Walston. It was Jennifer Walston. She handed me the piece of paper. I had everybody line up. I'm getting ready to announce them in, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Walston. And I knew her name was Walston. I had the contract. I knew what her name was going to be. I knew what her married name was going to be. Everything was perfect. I had all the groomsmen and bridesmaids lined up, and I announced all the groomsmen and bridesmaids in. Jennifer escorted by John, and then Michelle escorted by Kyle, and I had announced them all in. And then I got to, and I'm reading down the paper because we had lined them up outside, and I put them in order in line, and the coordinator had written down everybody's name on the piece of paper.
Right.
So that I had it all on the paper. So I'm sitting in front of the mic at the DJ booth and I'm reading down and I'm announcing everybody in. I get to the bride and groom and she had written Williams instead of Walston. And I knew her name was Walston, but because I was reading it,
you said it.
It didn't. It didn't click.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, and the father of the bride ran over to me, goes, it's Walston. I went, son of a. I was so disgusted. And I mean, this was her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because she apparently, from what I heard, she had been married before. And her last name was Williams in her previous marriage. So I'm calling her by the name of her previous marriage.
Ouch. Yeah.
That was one of my most embarrassing wedding moments. That was absolutely terrible. I'm surprised I didn't get a bad review. I got actually a decent review out of that, but they could have reviewed me horribly. And I showed the father of the bride. I said, look, she wrote Williams.
It almost makes me wonder if she did it intentionally as like a practical joke type thing. Which
no, she was so used to calling her, Williams, that it was just in her head, and she didn't write Boston, and it was both W names, ironically enough, that it didn't it didn't register in her mind.
Right. And she did exactly what you did. She was writing it down. She saw it, wrote
Exactly.
it, didn't even think about it. You read it, knew that it wasn't, just like I'm sure she knew it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that whole oops.
Well, I mean, I was reading a script at that point.
Right.
So, yeah, it was what it was. Oh, look, the CJH is here. Hey, and Wes Moody subbed. We're starting to get people.
All right.
Hey, CJ, how you doing, man? CJ, do you have a webcam by chance? Because I can have up to 6 people on here. I love this. I could bring him in and we can find out what's going on in Canada, because I think CJ's in Canada. And we can find out how the Great White North is faring in all of this coronavirus stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, CJ, if you have a webcam on your phone or on your computer, I can bring you in, because I was on his show. He does a podcast, a great podcast, and he interviewed me about the Star Wars film we're doing, Mara, and that was a lot of fun. So I figure tit for tat and get him on here, and he can be part of our show. Where'd you go? What happened? You disappeared.
I don't know.
Well, AJ's gone.
Oh no, I'm pressing buttons.
I still hear him.
Oh yeah, no, it's somehow I turned off my video. I might be pressing buttons. Oops.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that this is what AJ looks like when he's naked in the dark.
Yeah.
So imagine what hot AJ from Texas looks like naked in the dark. That's what he looks like naked in the dark. It's pretty hot, buddy. And he's gone altogether. Okay, well, it's just me now. He might be able to come back. There he is. Okay, I'm going to add him back to the stream. He's back. All right.
All right. So, mental note to self, don't press the buttons.
CJ can't go live. Oh, CJ can't go live. He doesn't want us to see his pretty face. He's afraid he's going to look better than all of us, and the two of us are going to look like crap. And yeah,
it is what it is.
We would never, We've got all the girls looking at us now, going, We've already seen AJ naked in the dark.
Yeah.
I can give you a little peek at the Star Wars shirt.
There you go.
Does that say hard? Oh, hard rock. That's an R, not a C. Got it. Okay.
Wow.
I know. He's shaking his head. A lot of my friends do a lot of head shakes when I talk.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. My coffee's getting cold. It's weird. I've mentioned this before. I love iced coffee. I'll go to Starbucks and I'll order iced coffee. But if my coffee gets cold, it's like, I don't know why that is. You would think I would go, oh, okay, it's just cold coffee. It's just like iced coffee. No, it's not the same.
That is kind of an odd question, something I've never actually thought of. Because it, as far as I'm aware, it's the same thing.
The same thing. It's just no ice.
Maybe it's not cold enough.
It's a mental thing. That's all it is. It's a mental thing.
That's very possible.
Yeah, CJ, if you get a chance, find me some guests. I want to have guests on here, and we'll talk about everything. Like this is, I do this on my Relationship Life channel, and we do talk about relationships. And how long have you been married, AJ?
Too long.
She's going to see this.
Oh, I know. Going on 13 years, I believe. Or it is 13 years. Yeah, because our anniversary was 25th, I believe.
Yeah. So you've been married a long time, and
like I said, too long.
Too long. But that's a good thing. You know each other. You know each other, and there are no surprises left.
No, and that's like you said, she's gonna see this, and she will know as soon as she hears or hers. Soon as she hears you ask, how long have you been married? She's gonna know instantly that I'm gonna go too long, or something along those lines.
Hey, a lot of times I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, so it's that's just the thing. See, we guys, they don't understand why we're oblivious, and I'm not trying to make this a. I'm not. This is not a sexist statement. I'm not trying to make this a sexist statement, but we guys have a lot going on, from day to day, and we're not as organized as women are. Women remember details and things that we just like, I was talking on my Facebook chat, and I did this in a relationship life video as well. I was talking about how when a woman is done in a relationship and she's just done, she's done, she's breaking up with you, she's finished. I had mentioned that when she sits across the table from you and says, "Hey, listen, we're done. I can't do this anymore." She was done 6 months ago. She just didn't tell you.
That's very possible, yeah.
And the thing about it is that she probably gave you a lot of hints. I mean, if you think back in relationships where you've had a relationship end, and I'm sure you were in relationships before you were married, that she probably said 6 months earlier, "Listen, you're not paying attention. You're not giving me what I want. I'm not happy." Or she had complaints. And those were the hints that you better get your crap right or I'm out the door,
Right.
And then all of a sudden, she surprises you over coffee one morning and says, "Listen, I want to see where it goes with Mark."
Right. And that's, like you said, it's funny that you say it the way you did with the whole she surprises you. Like you pointed out, there have been hints the whole time up to that you just never got. So like you were saying about guys being less organized, I would agree. I mean, those hints, we go, "Oh yeah, she's not happy. I'll get her something later on," and then you forget because it for whatever reason it didn't stick in your mind, and then like you said, 6 months down the road or a month down the road, whatever it is, she's like, "All right, well, I'm done. I'm leaving," and you go, "Where'd that come from?"
Exactly. Or I've known people, and I've had it happen to me, where we have a bad fight and she'll go home to her mom and she'll be like, I can't do this. I'm not happy and blah, blah, blah. And we had a bad fight. And then we patch things up, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." And we fix it. The problem is a lot of times when we fix it, it's a Band-Aid. And 6 months later, we're right back to where we were before. I've actually got married twice to the same girl. I don't know if you know that. I know a few of my viewers who've been following my show. I've talked about this. We got divorced, and we weren't getting along. It wasn't. The problem is we got married way too young, and we didn't know very much about each other. And we thought it'd be really cool to get married and play house, And we got divorced. Well, about 3 or 4 years later, we started talking again, and we got back together. And it was great for about a year. And then it was the same fights, same arguments. That's why I never look back. You can't go back. You think, okay, well, we're a little older, we can fix it. We can. No, it's people are people. People are creatures of habit, and that's just the way it is. I mean, they're not going to change. And unfortunately, once something is over, it's over. And
Well, see, and I kind of look at it a little differently. I do believe that people can change, but I also believe that if you could change, and maybe she changed as well, and that's great. You guys got older, you've become wiser, things
Well,
have done whatever. But as
yeah.
soon as you guys got back together, those old habits and the old you suddenly creep back in, because while you can change, you on a sub level you do not. I mean, you're going to be who you are.
Well, it comes down to motivation, and
Mhm.
what I mean by that is your motivation for the change. If you change for somebody else, it's not going to stick.
No,
If you
no.
change for you, like people, yeah, you're right. People can change. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. But the changes I've made in my life were for me.
Hmm.
If you try to change for somebody else, if somebody's saying, well, you play too many video games and you stop playing video games for that person, you're still going to want to play video games because you
Hmm.
didn't do it for you.
Right.
So it comes down to your motivation for the change. Yes, you're right. People can change, but you got to change for the right reasons. And we changed for each other. We put on the front for each other to get back together. She put her best face forward.
Right.
It's like I know, especially women, and I'm not again not bashing women, but I've known women that I've seen their pictures and they put so many filters on their pictures
Right.
that it's not even the same girl.
Hmm.
And then you see her in person and she's like, "Oh, you must be really shallow because you saw me and now you don't like me anymore." Well, yeah, because you're not the same girl I was talking to. It's like you got to be you, and
Right.
if you're not being you and being true to who you are, then it's fake. It's plastic, just like the change is fake.
Right. And that's I've heard a lot of people say it, and whether you believe it or not, I agree with the statement. But I've heard a lot of guys in a position of being able to try to tell their advice, but they all have said basically the same thing. The makeup, doing your hair, wearing all of these fancy clothes, having the fancy bags and like purses and things like that. That's great. If that makes you feel good, then more power to you.
Yeah,
But don't
if
do
you're
it
doing it for you,
because or you think we want to see that. Because we want to see more you. We
right?
want we don't care about the makeup. We don't care about the. Does it make you look good? Yes. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but we would much rather see you versus a fake you, like you said. The fake side.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times people think that guys are shallow, and guys are very visual. We go by what we see, but believe it or not, guys are not as shallow as you think they are. I mean, you like cars, right?
Hmm.
Which would you rather have? What's your favorite kind of car? What do you like as far as cars, muscle cars or whatever? What do you like as far as cars?
My absolute favorite car is probably either the '69 or a '70 Dodge Charger.
Okay, so Dodge Charger. Which would you rather have? A 79 Dodge Charger that's pristine and perfect metallic paint job, gorgeous with a four-cylinder, engine, or would you rather have a supercharged Charger that maybe has a little bit of dents and rust and you know what I'm saying? It's all a
Hmm.
matter of what's under the hood
Oh yeah,
when it comes down to it.
right. It's what's inside and what makes that person or that car that car. I believe that is far more important. And that everybody, or you're going to have those people that are strictly on looks, and that's all that they
Yep.
care about. And that's usually those people that to say it this way, it makes it sound bad, but usually that kind of person is more of the person that is just going to love them and leave them.
Yeah.
It's they're not there for the long term.
Well, I mean, I've been with some beautiful women. I mean, you saw my ex. I've been with some beautiful women in my time. And I've been with some average girl next door. And I'll tell you, given the choice, I'll take the average, what they call plain Jane, the average plain Jane girl next door over the supermodel any day. Because that supermodel will cheat on you quick because she's always looking for something better. She's always trolling for something better. And she's the one that will either cheat on you or leave you the minute she finds a guy that's quote unquote better.
Right.
You know, I knew a girl that was married years and years ago. And it was astounding. It was the most horrible thing I think I've ever seen a person do. But she would talk to other guys. Now, I had talked in my Facebook live video that flirting isn't necessarily cheating. Some people say flirting is cheating. What I had said in the Facebook video is that it depends on the flirting. We all want validation. You know, you've been married for 13 years, as you said. You're supposed to tell your wife she's beautiful. You're supposed to tell her she's pretty. She expects that from you. That's not really like not like your job, but she expects you to say that because you're with her. You know, that's something you say to somebody that you're with.
Right.
You know, you look very pretty today. I love what you did with your hair, you know, stuff like that. She expects that validation from you. But when a stranger gives her that validation, that feels good. I mean, if you're married, you're happily married. I know you. You're as faithful as the day is long. You wouldn't cheat if your life depended on it. I know that. Like nobody could pay you enough to cheat because you're faithful.
Well,
but that hot girl at Walmart that walks by you with the cart and gives you that little bit of a smile and says, "Hey, not for nothing, but you want to get some coffee?" And you're like, "No, sweetheart, I'm sorry, I'm married." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, I thought you were cute." That makes you feel good. You know, that's like, holy crap, somebody else thinks I'm hot. You know, it's an amazing feeling. And so that's not cheating. When you take that to the next level, when you talk to that girl at Walmart and you get her number or you get her Facebook and you start chatting with her every day and you're not necessarily making plans, but you're making plans. You know, whether you follow through on it or not, you're still flirting, sending pictures back and forth. You know, that's where you start crossing the line of cheating. I made an analogy of fishing. You fish, right? Have you ever fished off a boat?
A long time ago.
There's a big difference, as I said in my Facebook video, there's a big difference between chumming the water and fishing. You can throw bait in the water, but the minute you throw that line in the water, you're actually fishing. So it's okay to chum the waters. It's okay to get that validation. Just don't cross that line. Don't actually start fishing, you know? And, but this girl, oh my God, this girl, married, right? Never cheated on him. Technically. Now, why do I say technically? Because what she would do is she would meet a guy on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and she would start talking to him and she would flirt with him and she would start liking him. Now, she's not going to physically cheat. She's figuring to herself, I'm not physically cheating on my husband, so it's okay. There are different schools of thought on that.
Right.
As long as you don't kiss them, you know, dogs chase cars, but they can't drive, you know, but they do get run over. But what she would do is she would flirt with this guy for a while. She'd start to like him. She'd start to develop little feelings for him. And then instead of cheating on her husband, she would pick a fight with him and say, I'm done. We're getting separated. She would get separated. Then she would go and bang this other dude. And then after she's done with that, or the relationship doesn't work out for whatever reason, go and get back together with her husband because she made it all his fault. He feels bad. He doesn't want to lose her. He doesn't know what she's been doing. So then she comes back and she's like, listen, I've been thinking about it. I'm going to give you another chance. And I know of 2 or 3 times that she's done this, and that's horrible. Like, what kind of human being are you to do? It's basically legalized cheating.
Yeah,
It's a cheating loophole. Okay, as long as I'm separated, I can do whatever I want.
right. Because you're not technically with that person at
Yeah.
that moment in time. So yeah, and
But there's a morality issue there where if you know that's exactly what you're doing, like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out with, Jake or Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and get back together with my ex.
right.
That's why I don't look back. If I'm with a girl and she says, listen, it's not working out. Okay. Sorry.
Deuces, I'm out.
She thinks she's going to come back 2 months later after she slept around with 4 or 5 guys. She's out of her mind.
Yep.
That ain't going to happen.
Mm-mm.
But anyway, we've been on for an hour. It was great talking to you again. I'm sure we'll do this again soon. And try to stay safe. Guys, wear gloves. Just make sure you stay safe out there because this thing is nasty. Take it seriously. Listen to what they're telling you. Stay inside. Stay home if you can. If you have to work, like if you got to go to work, if you're still out there working, some of you still have jobs. Some of you are considered essential. Be careful. Put on gloves from the time you leave the house, basically till the time you get home, and assume that everything you're touching is contaminated.
That's a good way
Because
to look at it.
it's the only way we're gonna stop this thing, as they've said, and they're right, is to let it die off on its own. Because we don't have a vaccine, as long as it's not transmitting, it has nowhere to go. It needs a host. It needs a human body to live.
Right. If we can starve it out, it will die.
Yeah. So as long as we maintain our distance and stay home as much as possible and make sure you wear gloves and a mask if you can. They're saying wrap a scarf around your face. It's better than nothing. No, it's not as good as a mask. But
Right.
take that scarf and wrap it 2 or 3 times around your mouth. At least if someone sneezes in your face, there's a chance that the scarf might catch it. You got a better chance than nothing at all. And just stay safe out there, and we'll get through this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. This will not last forever. You've all been through some painful things in our lives. And when you're in the middle of that pain, you're thinking to yourself, this is never going to end. Like this live video. This is never going to end. It's going to end. Matter of fact, it's going to end right now. So I will see you all tomorrow. I'll be on. What do you think? I should do it at 10 or at noon? I'm thinking noon.
I would do noon.
Yeah, I'm going to change it to noon. So I will see you tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. I'm Stephen Bastian with okay, let's try that again. Relationship Life Video, take 2, and action. I'm Stephen Bastian, and this is the Relationship Life. I will see you at noon tomorrow, and we'll do another episode of Coffee Talk. And I'm joined by AJ. AJ, any last words?
Stay safe and stay entertained in one way, shape, or form. Watch movies, watch shows, do something.
Yep, now is the time. Now is the time to catch up on all those shows you didn't get to watch before.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother. Well, you keep the peace, and I got a truck on by. Stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, you too.
All right, everybody. I'm Stephen Bastian. Peace.